Now, in some of the toughest media environments, journalists are turning to non-traditional ways to tell their stories, such as the web, mobile phones, and social media. For more perspective, I'm joined by Harun Maruf, who's a senior editor with VOA Somali Service, and Nicolas, Pinault, a reporter with VOA French to Africa Service. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
If I may start with you, I mean, just last year alone, about what, 18 journalists?
18 media professionals were
killed in Somalia. It is one of the toughest places to operate. How is it like there to be a journalist?
It's between life and death. This year alone, 4 journalists were already killed. And I hope this horrific trend it does not continue in the same way it ended last year. 18 media professionals were killed. Life is very dangerous for Somali journalists. They censor themselves before they are censored, and the alternative to doing your job properly is death, harassment, death threats on the phone all the time. So it's very dangerous situation for Somali journalists.
To what extent has the online kind of portals helped journalists who are trying to survive and still tell their story?
It did help a lot. For instance, in Mogadishu, there's only one newspaper. I can remember at the time when there were about 70 newspapers being published in Mogadishu. So now it looks like that most of the newspapers are turning to web-based publications. We are also seeing media, radios publishing broadcasts online as well as YouTube. They're using, because to be based in Mogadishu, for instance, as a newspaper, you need physical presence, and physical presence attracts danger.
Become a target.
Exactly. So.
Nicolas, your recent trip actually was to the DRC, one of the other really tough terrains for the media practitioners. Tell me what you found there in terms of how the journalists are surviving and telling their stories at the same time.
As Harun was mentioning, it is true that it is really difficult for some journalists because of the political pressure, and especially in DRC you have the war in Eastern Congo between the rebels and the government. So it is always extremely difficult for journalists to try to work in serious conditions, because you have to be aware that if you report something true, that you might be in danger because of that. So you have a lot of fear among our colleague journalists in DRC. But you're right, the web and internet and social media could help those journalists to, to be heard in the world of the internet, because no matter the borders and the frontier, you can publish your story on the web, and it's a good opportunity for people.
But at the same time, we have to face it. The playing ground is not level in all countries in the use of social media, internet, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. Especially, I think there is a huge difference between French to Africa and English to Africa. You have huge countries like South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya, where the use of internet on the mobile and the web media is extremely positive and is very developed. But if you compare in French to Africa, you still have big challenges to have internet connection, like in Mali, Senegal, or Ivory Coast, and I don't mention the other countries. So you're right, there is a huge gap between the continent. Not all the African countries are equal.
Someone may ask Harun, like in Somalia, and maybe you wanted to add on to that, how about the consumers? And you can say what you wanted to say first.
What I wanted to add was that the challenge in terms of relying on social media is that most of the time you cannot rely or trust news via social media. So you need that to send the reporters to the field to cover press conferences and other places. And the people who are doing it are criminals who are everywhere, and you cannot separate them from other people. So, and still radio is the main news source in most parts of Africa, in particular in Somalia. So there is a very dangerous balancing act.
Because shortwave has always been the most kind of accessible media. But very briefly, in terms of those who are consuming, are we cutting out some people by going online?
I don't think so. I think, there's no competition between new media and the real newspaper and radio or the medias. I think the new generation is really into internet, and if we could attract them, maybe it's going to provide them an opportunity to then listen to the radio and maybe read newspapers.
And we're not cutting out, because the social media is becoming very fast. It's reaching new territory every day. Also, we are bringing new FM stations, installing new FM stations throughout Somalia, for instance. And as long as the technology improves, I think the people will have easy access to to news.
To news.
So
and
that
actually,
it's a good news.
Right on their cell phone nowadays, yeah.
Correct.
Which is great. Gentlemen, Harun, Nicolas, thank you very much for joining me today. Harun Maruf, Somali Service, and Nicolas Pinault, French to Africa Service.